Ladies, you don't need magic. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to understand the power you already got. A real man, he don't need games. He responds to love, to truth, and to the little things. Let me break it down for you. These 5 touches, they ain't about your hands. They're about your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Ladies, let me tell you something about men that most folks overlook. A man's ego, that thing that people love to criticize, is not just some inflated balloon. It's his identity. It's his engine. And if you really want to reach a man, not just attract him, but connect with him, you've got to learn how to speak to that part of him. You want to touch a man in a way that makes him melt. You respect him. You honor who he is, and even more importantly, who he's trying to become. That right there is the kind of touch that doesn't fade when beauty fades or when money's tight. That's the kind of touch that builds a bond strong enough to last. Now, let me break this down so it's crystal clear. Respect for a man isn't about submission or being small. It's not about stroking his ego with lies or telling him he's perfect. Respect is about recognizing his effort. It's about acknowledging what he's carrying. Because let me tell you, most good men are carrying more than they'll ever say. He might be quiet, it might seem like he's got it all together, but he's got pressure on him. Society expects him to be strong, to provide, to protect, to lead. And the truth is, most of the time, he's trying to do all of that on a tank that's almost empty. So when you look at your man and you say, I believe in you, when you say, I see what you're doing and I'm proud of you, that does something to him. That's not just a compliment. That's a boost. That's fuel. That's oxygen to a fire that might be dying out. A man who feels respected by his woman walks differently. He moves with confidence. He steps into the world with a little more power because he knows, even if nobody else gets him, you do. And ladies, here's what most folks don't understand. A man will fight dragons for a woman who makes him feel respected. He'll stretch himself, go further, work harder, just to keep being the man you see in him. That's how powerful your words are. But it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Respect shows up in your tone, in how you correct him, and how you speak about him when he's not around. Are you building him up or tearing him down? Are you talking to him like a man or scolding him like a child? Because see, when a man feels disrespected, it cuts deep. He might not say it, he might not show it, but it eats at him, makes him feel like he's never enough, makes him wonder why he's even trying. And when a man gets to that point, when he feels like nothing he does is good enough, that's when he starts to shut down. He won't argue, he won't fight. He'll just go silent. Not because he doesn't care, but because it hurts too much to keep trying for someone who doesn't see the effort. Now, let me say this too. I'm not saying every man deserves your respect. Some men haven't earned it. But if you've got a good man, a man who's trying, a man who shows up, who's faithful, who's working hard, then speak to that in him. Call it out, celebrate it. Because trust me, out there in the world, he's not getting celebrated. He's being criticized, doubted, challenged at every turn. When he comes home, he doesn't need a war zone. He needs a woman who reminds him that he's still got value. And you don't even have to say much. Sometimes it's just how you look at him. It's the way you listen to his ideas without cutting him off. It's letting him lead in his own way without trying to control every step. It's about allowing him space to make mistakes without throwing them back in his face. That's respect. That's love in action. And here's something I've learned. When a man is truly respected by his woman, his loyalty locks in. He's not looking around. He's not chasing attention. He's not trying to prove himself to other women. Because the one woman that matters, she sees him, she honors him, and that gives him peace. So if you're wondering how to get closer to your man, how to make him open up, how to deepen that connection, check how you're speaking to his ego. Are you tearing it down, or are you pouring into it? You touch that part of a man with care, with truth, with grace, and baby, you'll see a different version of him. A softer version, a more vulnerable, more loving version. Because respect, that's not just a need, it's his love language in disguise. That's how you touch a man and make him melt. Not through flattery, not through manipulation, but through real, honest, consistent respect, even when life's hard, even when he stumbles. When you do that, you don't just win his heart, you win his trust. And for a man, that's everything. Let me tell you something a lot of people don't talk about. Every real man has a vision. I'm talking about a dream, a purpose, a calling that keeps him up at night. He might not always say it. He might not have it all figured out, but deep down, every man wants to build something, be something, become something. And if you want to make a man melt, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually, you've got to touch that part of him. You've got to support his purpose. You see, a man's purpose is like oxygen for him. It's the thing that gives his life meaning. A good man will work himself to the bone trying to reach it. He'll grind, sacrifice, suffer in silence, just to get one step closer to that dream he's carrying in his heart. But here's the thing, chasing that dream gets lonely. The world isn't cheering for him. People doubt him, talk about him, even laugh at him. What he needs, more than anything, is one person who sees it, believes in it, and stands beside him while he's chasing it. That one person, that's you. Now, this ain't about doing everything for him. It's not about losing yourself or sitting in the background while he shines. No, this is about partnership. This is about standing beside him, not behind him. You ask any man who's made it to the top, who's achieved something real, and I promise you, he'll mention a woman who believed in him when he didn't have a thing but a vision. That woman's belief, that quiet encouragement, that ride or die support, that's what kept him going when he felt like quitting. Ladies, I need you to hear this. You don't have to fund his dream, but you do have to feed it. Feed it with your words, your energy, your time. If he's up working late on something he believes in, don't just complain that he's not watching movies with you. Bring him a cup of coffee and kiss him on the head. Tell him you're proud of how hard he's working. That little moment right there, that could be the reason he doesn't give up tomorrow. But I know what some of y'all are thinking. Well, what if his dream doesn't make sense? What if it fails? Let me tell you something. Every great dream starts off looking a little crazy. You think folks believed in Steve Jobs when he was building computers in his garage? You think people supported Tyler Perry when he was sleeping in his car writing plays? No. They called them crazy. But they kept going because somebody, maybe just one person, believed in them anyway. A man doesn't need you to fully understand his dream. He just needs to know you respect it, that you're not tearing it down, laughing at it, or comparing it to somebody else's success. Now, I'm not saying throw your whole life into his dream if he's not putting in real work. Supporting a purpose only matters when there's actual purpose behind it. If a man's got hustle, plan, and character, then he's worth standing beside. But if he's just talking and not moving, just making promises and not showing up, that's not purpose, that's fantasy. Don't waste your time on potential that refuses to grow. A man with true purpose is moving. He might stumble, but he's moving. Supporting a man's vision also means being strong enough to let him lead sometimes. That doesn't mean you don't have a voice. It doesn't mean you shrink yourself. What it means is you recognize that you're both building something together. And sometimes leadership looks like listening, not controlling. Sometimes it looks like stepping back just enough so he can figure something out on his own, even if you already know the answer. That's hard, I know. But when a man feels like you trust his direction, that motivates him to lead better, to be more responsible, to work harder for your future. And let me tell you what else. When a man knows his woman is truly behind him, he doesn't just chase his dream, he includes her in it. He starts building with you in mind. He thinks long term. He's not just dreaming for himself anymore, he's dreaming for both of you because you became part of the why. Mm-hmm. When a woman supports a man's vision, she becomes sacred to him. She's not just another woman, she's his woman, his safe space, his partner in the storm. And that type of bond, that type of loyalty, it doesn't break easy. Some women spend all their energy trying to be the prettiest, the sexiest, the most desirable, and while all that has its place, the real secret to a man's heart isn't in your appearance, it's in how you show up when he's building. Do you believe in him when there's nothing to show for it yet? Do you clap for him when no one else is watching? Do you remind him of who he is when he's forgotten? Because if you do that, if you really touch a man's vision, you'll unlock a part of his soul that nobody else ever has. You'll be the one he thanks when he makes it. You'll be the one he protects, provides for, and pours back into for the rest of his life. That's what support looks like. That's what love looks like. That's how you reach a man so deeply, so personally, that he never forgets you, even if he meets 1,000 others. Touch his vision, and you'll have his heart forever. Ladies, let me talk to you about something that a lot of women overlook when it comes to truly connecting with a man. Peace. That's right, peace. Man doesn't always need fixing. He doesn't always need advice. Sometimes what he needs more than anything else in this world is peace. You want to know how to reach deep into a man's heart? How to make him truly melt in your presence? Become his calm, not his chaos. Be his peace. Let me break it down. The world is loud. Life is hard. Every time a man steps out that front door, he's going to battle. Battle with expectations, battle with bills, battle with stress, pressure, temptation, judgment, you name it. He's out there grinding, trying to live up to what he thinks he's supposed to be. Strong, focused, successful, emotionally stable. But under all that armor, there's a tired man. A man who's carrying more weight than he lets on. And when he comes home to you, the last thing he wants is another war. You see, most men don't say this out loud, but peace is one of the sexiest, most powerful things a woman can offer. I'm not talking about being quiet or never speaking up. I'm not saying walk on eggshells or hold your tongue when something matters. No, I'm talking about emotional peace, mental peace, spiritual peace. A space where he can breathe, where he doesn't feel like he's being judged, criticized, or competed with. A space where he can exhale. When a man knows that he can come to you and lay his burdens down, not physically, but emotionally, you become more than just his woman. You become his home. That's why some men don't come home early. That's why some men stay at the gym or the bar or in their car a little longer before walking through the door. Because what's waiting for them inside isn't peace. It's noise, it's tension, it's demands. And I'm not saying every man is perfect or every woman is wrong, but I am saying this. If you want to create a deep, lasting connection with a man, learn how to bring him peace. It starts with how you communicate. Tone is everything. You can say the exact same thing two different ways and get two completely different results. If everything is always an argument, if every conversation turns into a confrontation, he's going to start emotionally shutting down, and not because he doesn't love you, but because he's tired. He's trying to preserve what little mental space he has left. Now look, I know life happens. I know sometimes you're tired too. You're working, raising kids, dealing with your own stress. But the real beauty, the real power is when two people learn how to be peace for each other. It's not one-sided. It's not about him getting all the calm while you suffer in silence. It's about creating a bond where both of you can take off the masks, where both of you can be vulnerable, where the home becomes a place of healing, not another battlefield. Sometimes peace means listening without immediately offering a solution. Sometimes it means letting him talk, even if you don't fully understand what he's feeling. Sometimes it means giving him a minute before diving into complaints, chores, or issues. Timing matters. Space matters. Compassion matters. When you choose the right moment to speak, when you approach him with softness instead of pressure, you open the door for deeper communication. Peace also means forgiveness. No relationship lasts without grace. A man will mess up, he'll say the wrong thing, forget something important, let his stress spill out in the wrong way. And I'm not saying you should tolerate disrespect, no way. But if he's a good man, a growing man, a man who's trying, meet that with understanding, not instant punishment. Because when a man sees that you give him grace, you better believe he'll want to rise up and be better. Not out of guilt, but out of love, out of appreciation. You also need to understand that sometimes the man needs quiet. That doesn't mean he's ignoring you. That doesn't mean something's wrong. It just means he's processing. A peaceful woman knows when to speak, when to listen, and when to simply be. Just being near him, present, calm, loving. That's a powerful gift. It creates safety, and safety creates vulnerability. And when a man feels safe, he gives you parts of himself he doesn't show the rest of the world. Now let me make this clear. Peace isn't about perfection. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to face challenges. But it's how you handle those moments that defines your relationship. Do you fight fair? Do you speak life or death into your relationship during conflict? Can you argue and still maintain respect? That's the kind of peace that lasts. Not the absence of conflict, but the presence of maturity and love through the conflict. When you become a man's peace, you don't have to beg for love, time, or attention. He'll want to be near you. He'll crave your presence. He'll protect you, cherish you, open up to you. Because in a world full of noise, you became his silence. In a world full of pressure, you became his rest. And trust me, he will never forget the woman who gave him that kind of peace. That kind of love changes a man. It anchors him, it softens him, it draws him closer, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually too. Be his calm, and you'll become the one place he never wants to leave. Now let me tell you something that most people don't talk about when it comes to keeping a man truly connected to you. It ain't just about what you do in the kitchen or the bedroom. It's about how you touch his mind. That's right, a real man doesn't just want a woman who looks good on his arm. He wants a woman who stimulates his intelligence, who feeds his thinking, who makes him think deeper, not just feel better. If you want to keep a man invested, growing, and always coming back for more, engage his mind. You see, most grown men, and I mean men, not boys, want to be challenged. Not disrespected, not nagged, but challenged, inspired. They want someone who can bring something to the table other than gossip and complaints. Somebody who can sit down with him and have a real conversation. Somebody who's got thoughts, opinions, ideas, and knows how to express them without tearing him down. A man wants a woman who brings value to his life, not just emotionally, but intellectually. And here's the thing, when a man finds a woman who can hold her own in a conversation, who can spark his curiosity, who asks questions that make him reflect, he becomes hooked. You don't need to have a PhD. You don't have to be a professor. You just have to care about growing, learning, thinking. You've got to show interest in the world, in yourself, in him. You've got to be curious. Because when you bring that energy into a relationship, it becomes more than love. It becomes partnership. Let me tell you what men notice, even if they don't always say it. They notice the woman who listens without interrupting, who doesn't just wait for her turn to speak, but really takes in what he's saying. They notice the woman who knows how to ask questions, not just make statements. A woman who can sit across from him and talk about life, money, purpose, business, faith, whatever it is, and keep him engaged. That's rare, that's attractive, that's unforgettable. Because here's the truth, every man is fighting mental battles. He's thinking about how to lead, how to grow, how to get to the next level. And when a woman comes into his life and she can build with him mentally, not just emotionally, she becomes a part of his strategy, not just his scenery. She's someone he can plan with, dream with, talk business with. That kind of connection, that's what builds empires. But see, it goes deeper than just being smart or knowing stuff. It's about how you use your intelligence. You don't need to outshine him, compete with him, or try to be the smartest one in the room. Real intelligence is humble. It invites conversation instead of shutting it down. It seeks to understand before it seeks to correct. It inspires, not intimidates. A man doesn't need a rival. He needs a teammate who helps sharpen him, challenge him, and make him better. You want to touch a man's intelligence? Ask him about his dreams and listen when he answers. Ask him what he's reading. Ask him what he thinks about something you read. Bring him something new to think about. Maybe it's a book, an article, a video, a quote. Something that opens up his mind. You might think it's small, but to a man who's constantly surrounded by surface level conversations, that kind of exchange, it's gold. Let's get real. The physical stuff fades, looks change. But the mind, that's what keeps love alive over the years. That's what keeps the late night talks going, keeps the fire burning long after the newness wears off. When a man feels mentally stimulated by you, he doesn't just want you around, he needs you around. Because you're not just a lover. You're his thought partner, his advisor, his sounding board, his second brain. And ladies, let me tell you something powerful. When a man respects your mind, he also respects your voice. When you've proven you can think clearly, that you can reason, that you don't just react, he'll start coming to you for advice, for input. He'll trust your perspective. That builds real intimacy. Not just physical connection, but mental loyalty. A man might have options, but if you're the one who challenges him to grow, inspires him to learn, and respects his thoughts, he'll always come back to you. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about doing all the work for him. You're not his mama, you're not his teacher, you're his equal. It's not about making him feel dumb so you can feel smart. It's about growing together, encouraging each other to learn, to stay curious, to chase wisdom and truth. Because two sharp minds moving in the same direction, that's power, that's purpose, that's kingdom building love. So if you're wondering how to keep a man's attention, how to build something that lasts, don't just focus on your body. Focus on your brain. Talk with him. Dream with him. Read with him. Learn with him. Laugh at smart jokes. Get passionate about something. And most of all, respect his mind while showing him the beauty of yours. Because once you touch a man's intelligence, once you become the woman who helps him think clearer, see wider, and aim higher, he's not going anywhere. That kind of connection is too rare, too deep, and too valuable to let go.